This is Jacob Ross. I'm doing an interview with Dr. Pat D for our 2D design project about public art in Lamona. All right, so what is your name?
Pat Drapes.
And are you from Lamona?
I live in Lamoni and have for the last 2.5 years, but I'm originally from Cumberland, Rhode Island.
Oh, I didn't know you were from Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that puts our population on campus of Rhode Island people at 1?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, about 1.
So what brought you to Lamoni?
Obviously, Graceland University, much like you, and the position of president here. So I joined 2.5 years ago.
So when you're in town and people come to visit you as president, where do you take them?
Oh, it depends on who it is. Alumni have fond memories of Pizza Shack, but mostly for us, it's on campus. So whether it's the Student Center, Class Center, an arts event, it's mostly on campus. But if I just want to have a conversation with folks, coffee shop is one of the go-tos.
So, how did your family come to live here? I know you started, or your last stop was at Mount Union.
Mm-hmm.
What was your path?
So, I grew up in Rhode Island, but I went to college at a liberal arts institution, much like Graceland, although it was all female, so I guess maybe that's not much like Graceland, but, very much focused on, liberal education, undergraduate, education. And from there, I majored in chemistry. I loved science as a kid and loved science in college and still love science. Went to University of Illinois for graduate school, and then after graduate school went to University of Texas for a postdoctoral fellowship to work in a lab. So wanted to be a faculty member and teach students, and so we've my husband, who is a faculty member here, went to Arkansas, and then we went to Illinois to Monmouth College, and then went to Mount Union. And at Mount Union, I was a vice president for academic affairs. I got interested in kind of doing bigger picture higher ed pieces, having bigger impact on students. And so the path to Graceland was, after 10 years at Mount Union in a vice president role, I had a couple people call me and say, hey, this Graceland University job sounds like a perfect fit for you. So I kind of threw my hat in the ring. I wasn't really looking for a job at that time, but 2 people call me on the same day about a job. I'm like, okay, I obviously have to look at it, right? And people I trust. And gosh, what an awesome outcome.
Absolutely. So when they brought you, what is your first memory of Lamona?
Well, when I had 2 interviews here, one was actually in Kansas City, so I snuck up here to kind of drive through it and look. So my first impression was, right off the highway, entering a small little town, but then drove through campus and saw kind of the beauty of that campus. And so that was, I remember calling my husband from campus, and I was sitting in front of the Shaw Center and just saying, oh, it's just beautiful and peaceful and looks like a good place. So really positive. Yeah.
So, this is about tradition, specifically your family. So how do you celebrate holidays with your family?
We joke a lot in our family about our tradition is not having a tradition. So we do a lot of traveling. This Christmas we're traveling somewhere else. We have a son that's living in Africa, so we're meeting somewhere in between. And sometimes we travel. I have family in Rhode Island and Massachusetts and Illinois. So we generally travel. So we've always said kind of our tradition is traveling. But last year, everyone traveled here, and so we were all I had 15 people at the Carmichael house, and we had the entire campus almost to ourselves on Christmas Day because there's not a lot of people on campus on Christmas Day, but it was good. So, but there are certain things. Christmas ornaments are really important to us. So if we ever take vacation or visit interesting places, I always buy a Christmas ornament. So if you come and look at our tree, we've got really interesting and fun pieces, but always try to get with family wherever it might be. Just might be in a different location.
Yeah, so tradition is like family ties and stuff like that.
Yes, absolutely.
So what is an aspect of the community of the community you feel is underappreciated?
Oh, here, I think, some of the stuff you can't physically see are the relationships and really smart, interesting, well-traveled people of this community. So a lot of people choose to retire here that were either faculty or professionals in the area or at Graceland. And so there's this rich community of people here that other small communities don't have. So if you want to know about a particular subject, go to the coffee shop. Like, you'll find out a lot, right?
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about, the politics of Eisenhower. You're gonna find an expert here, or
Yeah.
tell me about travel to Malta. You're gonna find people here, and I guess that was one of my surprises. And even when my father visits here, he goes to the coffee shop a lot and visits. There's groups of older people that get together every morning for coffee, and he always says to me, I gotta go back. I gotta up my game because these people are making us all look bad because they know so many interesting things. But I would say, and they're really close and connected. So I would say those connections are probably underappreciated here. You might think it's a small little lonely town, but these people are really busy, whether that's young families or older adults. There's lots to do, but there's also probably more potlucks than any major city here as well.
Yeah, I feel that. So what is one thing from Lamoni that you would want people to remember going into the future?
The connection between kind of all the kind of big city pieces, but with the convenience. So, we have great concerts. You're off and athletic events here at the university with a strong community that supports them. You get to do that. You get to do that with a 5-minute drive and no extra charge or charge for parking. So you get that without all the kind of hassle with it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a son that lives in Boston right now and in graduate school, and he just talks about, it's going to take me 3 weeks to plan to go to this one concert.
Yeah.
Here it's like, let's go over to the concert Friday night.
Yeah, or like, let's go to the concert. It starts in 15 minutes.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and you can do that here.
Yeah.
That,
So-
and you can run your errands here in about 15 minutes,
That's
which
so
I love.
true. Yes.
You're like, you
Grocery
can go to the
shopping.
grocery store, pick up a cup of coffee and go to the pharmacy and still get to work,
Yeah.
in 15 minutes.
So, if you had a chance to travel in time and change one thing about Lamoni, what would it be and why?
Travel in time, that's the part that's throwing me off. I mean, I definitely have wishes for Lamoni that, our downtown had more options, food options and kind of store retail options, especially obviously around the 18 to 22-year-old. So I would probably, and at some point Lamoni did have more of that. So I'd probably travel back in time and preserve some of those, restaurants, but I would want to maybe upgrade them with a few like TVs to watch some football games and that type of thing.
Modernize.
So I think that answers your question.
So, if you won the lottery, would you choose to leave Lamoni? And if not, why?
It's funny you say this. There's a group of us that have done the exercise. When you win the lottery, how will you spend your money in Lamoni? So I have my list of what I would do. Obviously it involves the Graceland campus. I mean, I would say to the I guess to the group that maybe some of us have gone out and bought lottery tickets with this very thing and a commitment to one another. Like, if you do this, 75% is going to these 3 projects.
Yeah.
So I would probably do some investment in the downtown area, and then obviously there's some facility needs and student scholarship needs at and Graceland that I would absolutely do. But
Mm-hmm.
I'd like kind of whether it's a wings or a sports area,
Yeah.
like a type of restaurant in town that would be good for young families, but also for college students to go watch, games on a Monday night, after they finish their studying, of
Yeah, of
course.
course, yeah.
Yeah, that's a
That
given.
comes first,
Yeah. So, but I think that that could do well. And then I think there's a call on the community for some kind of fitness and wellness center on campus or in town.
Yeah. So when you're talking about Lamoni and you're talking to people, how do you describe Lamoni to people that are unfamiliar with the area?
So it's a small town, so that's who we are, right? And so owning who we are, but it's a small town made up of people that are long-standing families in Lamoni, but also interesting people because of the university that come in. So for small rural Iowa towns, it's got a pretty diverse population, and I don't necessarily mean race and ethnicity. I mean in terms of backgrounds and expertise and professional expertise. So, if you look at kind of the Iowa statistics, we're pretty highly educated, and so it's interesting people doing good things.
It's like the most, highest PhDs per capita in Iowa.
It's something like that, yeah. Because people the fact that people choose to stay here and retire here, says something, about the community.
Yeah.
So I really talk about the people and the relationships and some of the opportunities and the ease of that. And for young families, obviously I'm involved in recruiting outstanding faculty and staff to work with students here at Graceland. Those are important pieces that, for students here, if you go to a small high school, you get the opportunity to, be, on the football team and in a music group and in, the quiz bowl. Whereas other large metro area, you get to pick one of those. Yeah. And as high schools, you get, not only are you get the opportunity, you're encouraged, to explore lots of things, and I think that's good for young people.
Yeah. So how do you describe Graceland as a school, specifically to people who, say you're pitching to a faculty member, and they're like, well, what even is this institution?
So I talk about, we're really a large university with 2 campuses. The traditional and the original campus, which we're sitting on today, the Lamoni campus, started in 1895. That's focused on, the development of young people, typically right out of high school, in helping them discover their passions, uncover their passions, and then build the strengths to get careers for them. And then I talk about, our other campus that there are programs that are administered out of there or delivered from there, are more professionally focused, and, most of our students there are graduate students, so kind of taking that liberal, education to the next level. For professional advancement or new opportunities, right? And most of our programs there, or most of our students there, study nursing, whether it's master's, doctorate, or the undergrad program down there, but also education. So I kind of talk about all of it, and then every conversation always involves our 3 core values: learning, community, and wholeness, and what those mean, right? Whether it's in an online environment, in our nursing program, or here, what does it mean?
Yeah. So what new things, what things are coming up for Graceland that are you're really excited about?
Well, obviously the student center, and that, that's so a major renovation expansion in the student center, and I think as a student how much we're missing that being offline this semester. But that sits at the heart of the campus and is the heart of the campus. I had a student just yesterday tell me, she's like, I met my best friends at Graceland the first week there when I just sat on a couch in student center. I didn't know them for any other reason other than, I was hanging out in the student center and I got to chatting with them. They're not on my team, they're not in my classes, they're just people I clicked with and I just met them there. So we're very excited about that opening, back up this spring. I'm really glad the weather's cooperating,
weather's
for the
been phenomenal.
I know, for the construction crews, so every day. And then a major renovation project of our athletic facility. We have the biggest indoor athletic facility that's heavily used by, biggest in comparison to our athletic conference, partners. But, students use that. Intramurals, as you know, is very serious here at Graceland, and an important part of the student experience, and that the volume of that space is really important. So that's kind of two facility projects. But, the faculty are always working on curriculum. So, last year, last year we did the work, and this year we launched, a new undergrad major in data science, sustainability, and Hispanic studies, and some minors in creative writing. That we're excited about those opportunities for students. We have about 50 programs that we're researching now to add. For every 50 you study, we'll probably narrow it down to 3, but some of those are big, programs and moves for the university that will likely happen out of the Kansas City opportunities, but opportunities for students that are studying at Graceland on this campus to continue their graduate education, and then some opportunities here with and I guess one of the other programs is nutrition, a master's in nutrition and human performance. But some opportunities that students can continue either in a 4+1 program, which is a program where you would study one additional year and get a master's degree, but you kind of start that work in your 4th year as an undergrad. So whether it's in nutrition and human performance or data science or business analytics, those are things that are coming up. And approved. Some of those need to be approved by our accreditors, and so they're sitting with accreditor boards right now to get approved. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
So I don't have any more questions. So just thank you for agreeing to this interview and sitting down with us.
Yeah. There's a motto last year our students worked on. It's the little things in Lamoni, and I absolutely agree with that, because it's not always about buildings, but opportunities and people that make a community. So you started this with, why do you choose to live here? I mean, obviously Graceland University and the community that Graceland has, but it's part of the overall community. So it is the little things in Lamoni. Yeah. Thanks, Jacob.
All right, let's make sure this was recording.
Yeah.
It was.
Okay.